you said shame is a way where the conscience will shut down when you feel shame. I don't really understand that. Isn't shame also like a way of the conscience telling you did something wrong?
Well, yes. Now we're talking about two different emotions completely. The second one you're mentioning, where your conscience is telling you, that's guilt.
Yes.
Not shame. And what guilt has a number of different flavours to it, but what God's intention is with the conscience for the feeling of guilt is that guilt is just a statement whether you're right or wrong. So, let's say I murdered somebody and I was in a court and they were, having a court case about the murder that I committed, and they asked me whether I'm guilty or not. They're asking me whether I did it, aren't they? Yep. And your conscience is the same mechanism. It's basically telling you, you did that. You did that, right? So let's say, example we gave just earlier about when we stole something when we were little, the conscience is saying, you did that, right? So it's just expressing to you that you are guilty of the unloving act. That's it. How you feel about that guilt could be shame or wanting to fix it, couldn't it? Now, if you feel shame, you're most likely not going to fix it. Right? You'll often carry that shame for the rest of your life, but still not fix the reason why you took the act. Guilt is there to prompt you and go, you did it, what are you going to do about it? That's the purpose of guilt, to establish that you did something and it was really something that you did wrong. What are you going to do about it? That's its only purpose, right? It's not to condemn you for the rest of your life and make you feel terrible for the rest of your life. It's just to help you make a decision in your future about what you're going to do about what you did, right? So there's a big difference between guilt and shame. Shame will stop you from progressing in love. Guilt will help you progress in love.
So shame is like an addiction almost, where you want to...
Shame is an addiction that most people have learnt in their childhood, because they learnt that if they feel ashamed, their parents got off their back about doing something wrong. So an example of that is, let's say when you're a child and you did something wrong that your parents assessed as wrong. Quite often what your parents will do under those circumstances, because they haven't learned about love, so quite often what they'll do is shame you. So what they'll do is they'll remind you over and over again, you did that, you're a bad person, you did that, you're a bad person. But they're constantly telling you, you're a bad person, you're a bad person, you're a bad person in this. They think that it's motivational, but actually it causes you to just try to avoid doing that thing again, but not be motivated to find the reason why you did it in the first place, right? So it's not solution-based. It never addresses the cause. It's only addressing the effect of your behaviour. So that's the trouble with shame, is that all it does is, when you feel ashamed, you feel like, I don't want to do that, I don't want any part of that again. But you never sort out why you did that thing or why you felt to do that thing in the first place, right? And because of that, shame is really it's a very restricting emotion, and you can stay in states of shame for long periods of time and not make any progress. Okay? Guilt, the purpose of guilt is just to say you did wrong or you did right. Actually, it's not just, the conscience doesn't work just telling you did wrong, by the way. It also works telling you did right. So, oftentimes if you've got a very sensitive conscience and you're doing something, even when everyone around you is telling you you're doing it wrong, if you've got a really sensitive conscience and you can feel from God you're doing it right, you're going to be pretty confident that you're doing it right. Yeah? That makes sense? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the purpose of the conscience is to show you the difference between right and wrong. Right? And to help you feel guilt when you do wrong, so that you at least are aware that there was something wrong done, and then you have the choice to fix that or not. Now, so what most people do with that is they then try to desensitize their conscience by trying to stay away from the emotion of guilt. And the problem with doing that now is I can't tell whether I'm doing right or wrong anymore. And this is where most people in the world are with regard to the use of their conscience. They can't really tell what's right and they can't tell what's wrong. Right? So now they ask for a rule book. Because the rule book that God created, which was inside of themselves, is not working anymore. Right? So what they do is they go, right, this rule book inside me, I don't want it to work anymore because it feels bad. So what I'm going to do is just go and find a book, Bible. I'll find the Bible. I'll read the Bible, and that's what I'll do. But let's say the Bible's not very acceptable in most Arab countries. So what do I choose then? I choose the Quran. But the Quran and the Bible are not very acceptable amongst most of you. So what do you choose?
Oh.
Some New Age philosophy, right? Some New Age thing which is more acceptable to most of you at the moment. And so you choose the New Age thing. And you go, there's my Bible. You ran to your book or, some other similar book that has been written. And I go, or, what do they call it? I forget all the other books, but there's so many of them that Course of Miracles or something that puts New Age philosophy as the book, the rule, from spirits or something like that. And so I choose that. And then I try to live my life by that. But it's still neglecting the fact I have a conscience and God could tell me directly what's going on, what's right and wrong, if I so choose to develop that conscience. We go up the back there, and then
Maxine had her hand up.
Maxine first, and then up the back. So you start Maxine, and then up the back.